Carla is sent as part of a space expedition on the ship Achilles. One day, she comes out of hibernation and persuades one of the members to rest longer. The cosmic dream is very tiring for the first time, but the man refuses. Later, it turns out that Sai is a blogger with a huge audience. After some time, the crew can observe the object of their research, a black sphere. It was recently found in orbit of Mars. Carla begins her first research but does not understand what the data means. The ship's scanners can see right through the planet but cannot determine what is inside the sphere. Sai describes everything he sees around him, and Officer Ulf changes the used core in the engine. Director Vance gets in touch and reminds that the whole world is waiting for news about the mysterious sphere and watching the actions of the Achilles crew. People go to their cabins, but when Carla walks along the corridor, she suddenly hears her mother's voice. The woman contacts Vance. The director is concerned about her well-being because she recently lost her family. At this moment, the connection is terminated. The ship's artificial intelligence reports a temporal spatial anomaly, the source of which is the sphere. The ship's onboard systems are damaged, communication channels do not work, but life support systems and engines are operating stably. Thanks to this, the ship can move towards the sphere. But suddenly, a bright light began to come from there, which seemed to show the direction of flight. At this moment, the data processing systems are restored, and Carla catches the message emanating from the sphere. The word Deus is repeated endlessly, which means God. A frightened Sai comes to her and asks to turn the ship back, but the captain insists on carrying out the order and to begin studying the sphere immediately. Carla finds Sai, who repeats that they shouldn't fly because only punishment awaits them. He hears voices calling him and talking about danger. People come to the decision that they need to find out what it is. If it's not God, they can just blow up the sphere, although Achilles is not a warship. However, the captain doesn't like talking about explosions. The countdown to landing begins. Carla hears her daughter's screams. Sai is in pain and goes to the lower deck. Tess discovers Sai's disappearance and goes to look for the man. Ulf and Carla go after them. Meanwhile, Tess makes his way around the lower deck and sees Sai. He stands in a pentagram of burning light bulbs and carves strange signs on his body. Carla hears screams. She runs towards the noise and finds the bloody body of Tess, over which Sai stands with a knife. The next moment, Ulf hears her scream. He runs there and sees Sai holding Carla. The officer tries to calm the blogger down. They can resolve everything peacefully, but the man again talks about sins and demands to turn the ship around. At this moment, a shot sounds. The captain quietly walked around Sai. The mission has just begun, and the crew already has 2 dead. Carla is sure that the captain knows something about the sphere, but the man denies everything. Carla doesn't understand why the captain doesn't even try to find out what happened to Sai and Tess. After some time, Carla visualizes a strange structure on the surface. Director Vance gets in touch and reports that thousands of similar portals have appeared on the surface of the Earth that lead to God. It's like an invasion that no one can explain. It seems that the key is in the orb, and they must find it. Carla, Ulf, and Sean go to the surface. They examine soil that is unlike any known materials. Suddenly, a bright light appears ahead. People go there and discover a tall obelisk with a carved symbol that represents the event horizon or the boundary of existence. People begin to hear sounds despite being in a vacuum. A woman appears before them and speaks on behalf of the Creator. People who pass through the gate will return to him in eternal peace. Carla was sent here so that she could share the truth with people, because beyond the gate there is deliverance from torment. Those who do not agree to go through the gate will die. When the sphere reaches Earth, it will turn into the most destructive weapon. Suddenly, instead of a woman, Carla sees her mother and then herself, immediately after the accident. Ahead is a golden field with a wonderful city on the horizon, from which her daughter runs towards her. Carla goes there, and the next moment, she finds herself on the laboratory table. The captain and Ulf are nearby and inform her about the death of the 3rd officer. She passed through the gate, but then lost consciousness and was miraculously carried out. At this moment, Vance gets in touch. The world is waiting for her answer. Carla talks about what she saw and about a city that looks like New Jerusalem. She ran towards the city but doesn't remember what happened next. Vance advises the woman to rest, but she tries to find out what happened to Sean. Ulf explains that his suit suddenly tore and they couldn't do anything. Carla intends to return to the sphere, but Ulf says that they are going to fly away. Ulf tells Carla that Vons believes she is hiding something. The captain is trying to track their conversation at this time. Carla confesses to Ulf that she saw her family. She's sure the captain and Vance know about it and want her to admit it on camera. Artificial intelligence reports that Achilles will leave the sphere's orbit in half an hour. The captain tries to find out from Ulf what Carla told him. At this time, the woman goes to the hibernation booths. She wants to check Sean's remains but cannot open the door and breaks into the captain's cabin. There she finds weapons and documents. She meets Ulf in the corridor and wants to know the real goals of the expedition. He is an infantryman and a member of an elite special forces unit. Ulf says that his task is to preserve peace and he does not know anything new about the sphere. Carla takes him to the captain because he knows the truth for sure. Sean was killed because there are these marks on the suit. The captain insists that she tell the truth. At this moment, a hologram of Vance appears. He is sure that Carla saw heaven. Vance shows the analogs of the gate on Earth where people go. Carla watches the video, but at some point the captain attacks and wounds her, but the woman manages to kill him. Ulf looks at what is happening calmly. He is on Carla's side and is ready to take the ship wherever she says. The man also wants to know the truth. Ulf treats her wound. Carla wants to return to the sphere. They will be able to drop the main engine and then return to Earth many years later. Carla calls Vance. He understands her desire but does not agree. He tried to give God to the world, and now she can take the place of the creator. The sphere consists of a self-reproducing material that can build a structure according to a predetermined design. This is how Achilles was created. Ulf makes his way to the engine. Meanwhile, Vance talks about the Earth and the problem of overpopulation. If part of the human race is not destroyed, then the planet will perish. Carla understands that those who pass through the gate on Earth will fall into the black hole. Vance is ready to destroy 15 billion so that 6 can survive. They will pass away painlessly. Carla remembers the woman's words that the sphere will destroy the Earth, but Vance refutes this. The sphere will self-destruct when it reaches the planet. Vance also admits that after the accident, they placed a chip in her head through which they can see and hear anything. Carla is furious because they killed her family and then spent 2 years preparing her for this flight. Ulf reports that he has removed the core, but Vance orders the artificial intelligence to self-destruct. Carla asks Ulf to come back. He understands that if he returns, everything will be in vain. Vance reminds them that the artificial intelligence will prevent them from separating the lower deck and tries one last time to convince Carla to help him. But the woman cannot allow herself to play God. And then Vance says goodbye to her. Carla shoots his hologram. Ulf carries the core to the transport and asks for a code to separate part of the ship. He understands that he will not have time to return to Carla. The woman refuses to believe it. She watches as the lower deck explodes and then part of the ship separates. Suddenly, she hears the voice of Ulf, who managed to get out of the detachable part. Later, the couple takes a break from the work done, and the man says that this is not the end. The core can only be detonated manually from the surface of the sphere. Carla wants to go with him, and the man agrees. But before leaving, he makes sure that the woman remains in the closed part of the airlock. He asks her to return to Earth and tell the truth about the sphere. He then goes out to the surface of the sphere and closes the outer door. Carla watches as he brings the core to the surface. The module rises into the sky, after which the sphere explodes. Carla promises Ulf a meeting on the other side. Artificial intelligence reports that the ship will return to Earth in 7 years and 8 months.